of the Sonoran desert habitat. Here are some vocabulary we're going to hear throughout our story today. One of the words you're going to hear me read is camouflage. Can you see the animal who is using camouflage in this photograph? Camouflage means to blend in with your surroundings. Next, you will hear the word scavenger. Scavengers are animals that eat meat and waste left by other animals. Omnivore. An omnivore is an animal that eats both plants and other animals. So a grizzly bear or a black bear might eat fish and berries. We will hear the word nocturnal, meaning that they come out at night to hunt. Herbivores. Herbivores are animals that eat only plants. We'll also hear the word carnivores. A carnivore is an animal that eats only other animals. Let's get started. After nearly freezing and almost becoming a polar bear snack in the Arctic, I thought we should go someplace where my whiskers and tail could thaw out and warm up. So I brought you to the desert. There are many deserts all over the world. You know you're in a desert when it doesn't rain very much. Many deserts can also be very hot. Because it is so hot and dry, only certain types of plants and animals can live there. Welcome to the Sonoran Desert in the southwestern part of the United States and the northwestern part of Mexico. The temperature is quite hot during the day and it doesn't rain very much. The heat and lack of rain make it hard for some plants and animals to live in the desert. They must all be especially adapted to live in the hot weather and survive with very little rain. How do they do it? Some plants can save and store water inside their plant parts when it does rain. Other plants can only grow in shady areas near mountains or rocks. Because there are very few plants that can be used as shelter, the animals that have adapted to living in the desert often seek shelter underground and make it their homes under the sand. Living underground helps them to stay cool when it gets hot, and it keeps them hidden from other animals that may want to eat them for lunch. I want you to think, what do you see in this image? Ouch! What did I walk into? Aha! Here is one of the plants that lives in the Sonoran Desert, the saguaro. Cactus is the world's largest cactus. Cacti don't have leaves. They have prickly spines instead, which is exactly why they hurt so much to touch them. The word cacti is plural for cactus. One cactus, but many cacti. The incredible saguaro lives for up to 200 years and in that time can grow as high as a house and can weigh as much as several cars. The most amazing thing about the saguaro is that it is a habitat in itself. That's right, not only does it manage to live and thrive in the desert habitat, but just by being there, it provides food, water, and shelter to many different animals. Let me get my climbing gear out and some gloves to protect me from these sharp spines, and I'll meet you at the top. You already know that it hardly ever rains in the desert, but when it does, the saguaro cactus saves and stores huge quantities of water in its roots and stems. The cactus saves the extra water and uses it to survive during those times when it's dry and does not rain. In the spring, white flowers grow in the saguaro. At night, when the desert cools down, these flowers open to show sweet nectar, which butterflies, bats, and birds feed on. Before the flowers close the next day, when it once again becomes very hot in the summer. Red fruit begins to grow in the saguaro. Many animals eat the fruit of the cactus. Here is an interesting bird called a Gila woodpecker. The Gila pecks a hole into the soft cactus with its beak to make nests for its eggs. The Gila woodpecker is an omnivore. Remember that word? An omnivore is an animal that eats plants as well as other animals. Gilas feed on the cactus's fruit and berries as well as insects that have invaded the saguaro. Thankfully, I brought a sandwich so I won't have to join these Gilas for a buggy lunch. It really is way too hot for a regular rat like me to live here. I'm glad I brought my fan with me. Interestingly enough, birds like the Gila woodpecker can live in the desert habitat because their feathers help protect them from the hot desert sun by trapping in cool air next to their skin. Still, most birds only go out to feed in the early morning or evening when it's cooler outside. From noon to late afternoon, many of these birds seek shelter in the holes that they have dug in a cactus or in other shady places. Here is another bird that makes its home in the saguaro cactus, the elf owl. The elf owl is the world's smallest owl. It is only 5 inches long. That's just a bit bigger than one of your hands. It moves into nests that have been abandoned by the Gila woodpeckers. When something's abandoned, it means it's been left for good. The elf owl, like most owls, is nocturnal. Remember that word? That means it rests during the day and wakes at night to hunt for food. Can you think of another animal that is nocturnal? The elf owl is also a carnivore. A carnivore is an animal that eats only other animals, no plants. It uses its large eyes to hunt in the dark night for bugs that live in the desert. Most owls eat mice. I'm sad to say rats, but I think I'm safe from the elf owl because I'm bigger than it is. I want you to name one other animal that you can think of that is a carnivore and only eats meat. Oh, look, here comes a desert cottontail rabbit, another animal that lives in the Sonoran desert. The desert cottontail looks little like the Arctic hare that we saw in the tundra, but it has larger ears and a longer back. I want you to think of some ways that the Arctic hare has adapted to the Arctic tundra. Desert cottontail rabbits are herbivores. Herbivores are animals that only eat plants, no animals. The desert cottontail eats grass and even cacti. Ouch, that might hurt. Smaller animals, like the desert cottontail, always need to watch out for larger animals in the desert that might eat them. Many animals and plants are part of a cycle called the food chain. You will learn more about the food chain in the next read aloud. Coyotes, for instance, like to eat rabbits. In fact, there is a coyote coming this way, so let's stay up here and watch it. Coyotes are found all over the United States, including the Sonoran Desert. As you can see, the coyote has a light tan-colored coat to help reflect the sun's rays and camouflage it. Remember our vocabulary word camouflage? It means that you blend in with your surroundings. The color of the coyote's fur helps it to blend in with the color of the desert sand, making it difficult for other animals to see the coyote in the desert background. Coyotes are carnivores, like the elf owl. Coyotes have a very good sense of smell, hearing, and vision, and they can run very fast, which means they are excellent hunters. They're also scavengers. Scavengers are animals that eat meat and waste left behind by other animals. Coyotes live in dens, which they make by burrowing into the ground. I think this one has smelled something because he's just run off. Now, I'm getting down from this cactus before another coyote comes along to make me its dinner. It seems like rats are on the menu everywhere I go.